Eliah Mountjoy, welcome to the show. How are you, mate?
Hello. Thank you very much for having me, Dan. I'm glad to be here.
Now, I don't want to bring up your name because I bet every interviewer does. I want to ask, how many times does it actually get brought up in your everyday life?
Oh, all the time. It's it's a weird one. It's a weird one, you know. Just looking at it, if you try to use a codec and decode it phonetically, you're already screwed. If you try and use your understanding of the Talmud and ancient Hebrew, you're still screwed because it's a different it's a different pronunciation still. I've got a funny running joke with a friend whose name is Elias.
Oh, yeah.
Um, we've worked together a couple of times now, and whenever we do, he'll be directing me. And the joke is always, we both understand how easy it is to get the other's name wrong. And so we'll kind of go out of our way to make sure we get it wrong, just to make sure that we feel at home. But I mean, you got it right off the bat, man. And that's like 1 out of 20, I'd say. So,
Well, 1 out of 20 people you meet will get it right.
yes, the first time.
What do you usually get, Elijah?
Yeah, that's a common one.
Yeah.
Eli, that's a very common one.
Yeah.
Eliah, people aren't exactly sure what to do with it. So lots of times it's just, if they say my name, I'll just nod. I know who they're talking to. I don't have to be like, just so you know, my name is pronounced. I don't have to get all stuffy with it. But if we become friends or we have more conversations, then eventually they'll go, so how do you say your name? And I'll just say it's Eliah.
Do you have a middle name, by the way?
My middle name is Matthew.
Oh, there you
go. It's a little more simple, a little more straightforward. Yeah.
But I love the name Mountjoy. Is there any story to that at all?
Yeah, man. It's actually a royal name.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's right. It has a whole coat of arms and everything. It originated from the Normans in France, in that region at that time. And then they were basically excommunicated for religious reasons. And many of them went to Ireland and Scotland and kind of the British Isles, but really mostly Scotland and some Ireland. In fact, if you ask somebody from Ireland how they associate my last name, Mountjoy, here in the States, it's akin to Alcatraz. It's the most famous penitentiary on the island.
Right.
So, it would be the equivalent of my last name being Alcatraz if I lived in Ireland. So me and my brothers made a pilgrimage a couple years ago to Ireland, and we wanted to go to Mountjoy Square, and just try and absorb some of our history and lore, and go to the motherland. And everybody was like, "Oh, you don't want to be associated with that. Nobody wants to, unless you want to go to the penitentiary, and nobody wants to do that. You should just help yourself to appendicitis." And they would say things in a way that was really difficult for us to understand. But as a voice actor, I was really privy to listening to how they would say things. And I think there's such a wonderful heritage from Ireland and Scotland. Turns out a lot of my ancestry then did come through Scotland, and that whole, by way of that Scotland. So my aunt, who recently passed away, God rest her soul, I was visiting my uncle. She really did a lot of deep diving into our history and lineage, because God knows nobody else in the family would do it. And so I brought them back with me. I have all of her research and
wow,
over here. She did a tremendous amount of just genealogy and digging into. And this started before, Ancestry.com and
those companies,
yeah. That's a long-winded answer to say that's where my name came from. Strangely enough, I've never met another Mountjoy that
Ever?
I'm not to. No.
Wow.
I was in the doctor's office just a few days ago trying to get over this cough thing that has just been sticking around. And the nurse was like, "Do you ever go by Mountjoy?" And I'm like, "You mean like leave out the U? Because my name is spelled Mount Everest, only Mountjoy." I'm like, "No." But she's like, "I went to high school with somebody named Mountjoy." And I was like, I've never heard that.
Mm.
But I've never met somebody who I wasn't related to. So
It's
it's
funny
still
you
kind of a
say
weird.
that because I've never met another Dan or another Alan.
I know that's not true.
No, I've met about 100. So, what was it like growing up? And I heard you say that you moved to school to school to school. What does
Yeah,
that do to you as a kid?
it was rough. It was really rough. I was always the new kid, and children are as children are. They're anything that's different, they're coming after you. And I'm
Mm.
tall. I'm taller than the average person. So that right there, that's you just need one thing. It was tough. It was like every year or two we'd move. So through elementary, middle school, and then even moved one time through in high school, but I managed to continue to go to the same high school. We were always moving.
Mm.
And so while that was tough, though, it did force me to forge a better understanding of who I was. Because, when you strip away culture, your friends, your belief systems, whatever, scaffolding you've got around you that keep you propped up. This is who you are. This is how you engage with the world. When you take that away, you go, who are you? So I was young enough that I didn't really know that that's what was happening, but that's essentially what was happening. I had to kind of re-envision, redevelop, regalvanize who I was. And you're different people. You're kind of a different person to different people under different circumstances. They bring out different sides of you. But in the kernel, you're you. And I think that that's probably one of the biggest things I came away with, having moved around so much as a kid. And it did develop a wanderlust. Like I was saying, we went to Ireland, and I've visited a bunch of other places with my brothers where we'd go to Spain, or we'd go to France, or we'd go to
You close with your brothers?
yeah, yeah. My brothers are really important to me, and we grew up pretty tight.
Are they in the business?
No, no, I've got three brothers, and they all think I'm crazy for being in in this industry, and they're kind of right, But they keep my head on straight. One of them works in an NGO in Africa, building hospitals for
Wow,
poor and marginalized people there.
that's fantastic.
Another one, he's got his own IT business and rents out a bunch of property he still has, and very cerebrally motivated. And then another brother that works in finance. And moving
Diverse
number,
portfolio of a family.
yeah, man. So this is another thing about the Irish. They won't let you disappear up your own arse. That even if you're really successful,
Keep you grounded, yeah.
yeah, you don't get too overinflated there, buddy. You're still one of us.
Do you have to put yourself in check when you're landing these big roles in Cyberpunk and these big franchises?
I mean, yeah, kind of. I definitely have to pinch myself because it's just, man, I was such a huge fan just of video gaming. I grew up with my brothers doing this. My uncle, he had an old Atari that he gave us when we moved to Canada. It was old and stuff, but we weren't allowed to have those things. But somehow it happened that we got it. So we started there. And then, Max came out, and we'd play Snakes, on a keyboard. We loved it. And then Nintendo came out, and everything from that point. So we've been gaming essentially our whole lives. So I love it. Also, I love the world of cyberpunk.
You're a Blade Runner fan like me, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
You're a Blade Runner fan.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
mate, those films are extraordinary.
Oh, man.
Oh,
They're my favorite films. Number one, they're the top of the list. I was introduced to them. I was exposed to them very young, like 13.
wow.
Way too much for me to really
Take
understand
it.
what's
Yeah.
going on. But when I saw it, I was like, this is amazing. I mean, even like your Dan Allen
Light, yeah.
blowing light behind it's
Yeah.
got that kind of neon
Neon feeling, yeah.
yeah, it was with juxtaposed with the dark and the rainy and the gritty. It was just aesthetically immediately I was in. I was in. So yeah, man, we've got a lot to talk about.
We're going to be here for hours, I can tell.
Yeah, this is going to take a while. But to answer your question, I loved video games. I already loved the realm of, cyberpunk, neo-noir cyberpunk kind of thing. And so, and I had actually just when the game came out, originally, I had some friends that were in it, and so it was on my radar. And I was like, oh my God, this game looks amazing. So eventually, because I've got such a laundry list of games to get to, eventually I got to it. And I just love it was everything and more than I was hoping it to be, because I had played a bunch of the Blade Runner games and just that kind of cyberpunk realm, and this was so much more engaged, such a realized world in totality. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So when I finally got into the first session, you walk in, you don't know what you got, and the director was like, okay, so we're going to tell you what you're here for. It's the DLC of Cyberpunk. And I just about shat my pants because I was already playing it. I was already in the world.
I've just pictured that.
Yeah, I mean, just go like this. Yeah, I mean, I had to like, I'd be like, I think I actually did let out like a yeah, or I had to release some kind of energy.
That's great, man.
And then be like, okay, let's
then the realization kicks in. Oh shit, don't stuff this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the lucky thing for me was the character that I ended up playing, Kurt Hansen, was so in my wheelhouse that because they'll play back, I had to give in a couple of takes, and they'll play back your audition and go, we want to go more for this one, more like this.
Yeah.
And I was like, right from the get-go, I felt like I know exactly what I'm going to do with this. And even if I don't, the director's going to tell me, and I'm going to be able to do it. And that's not always the case, No. Lots of times you're like, you're trying to find the character, you're trying to ground yourself in the world. But I felt so right at home immediately with Kurt Hansen that it was the coolest thing. So I had to pinch myself and be like, holy shit, this is happening. There's going to be a lot of sessions. I just need to make sure I stay healthy and in the pocket, which for that period of time I did. Thank God it wasn't the last 2 months. But it was just such a joy, man. It was such a dream come true. It was perfect timing, and it was really the one that I wanted. It was the one. It was the franchise I wanted to be part of, and I maybe I accidentally manifested it by just playing the game and really immersing myself in it. And
did you ever picture yourself in the world as a character when you played it?
When I was playing the game,
yeah.
Oh, totally. I mean, that's the beautiful thing of it. Like because of the, choose your own adventure structure, you literally are you literally are making the decisions. You literally are choosing who to talk to and what to say and where you're going. And it's the ultimate. It's like the ultimate expression of video gaming, where you get to be like, what's his name in the Never-Ending Story says, you get to become Captain Nemo. you become the character. And so that was the coolest part for me, being able to just drive around Night City, go where, drive around, walk over there, talk to this person. It's amazing. It's amazing how much effort and time and energy and realizing the world would have to go into creating that, to where you could just get out of your car and let me go talk to this NPC over here and have a little conversation. That's crazy. That's insane. That's insane.
I think you did a tremendous job. And one of the things that stood out for me was that he was one of the most intimidating guys I've ever seen in a game. From the moment you see him, you are intimidated. I don't want to mess with this guy. Is that something that you were conscious of bringing to the role?
One of the, the first 2 or 3 sessions, everybody was on the line.
Okay.
The director, Pierce O'Toole.
Legend.
Amazing. I'll sing his praises all throughout this interview. Fantastic director. Jared Dye, one of the writers.
Oh, wow.
A gentleman by the name of Boris. I never got his last name, but I believe he was the lead writer. And he was there for the first 2-3 sessions, basically establishing the character. And this is where it's just amazing. This is what I love about the game developer industry, where you can talk to the person that wrote that character. Where else can you go to do that? And then get the kind of filled out perspectives of another writer, the director who has seeped himself in the world. It's incredible. It's incredible. So they were talking a lot about Kurt he's a junkyard dog. They're like, he's a junkyard dog. He's got that growl, they want that, like. But there's also times like, he's also, he can be diplomatic. He's moving out of kind of trying to be this arms dealer that's just might makes right, and interface with higher profile characters in order to get what he wants. And so there was that dichotomy of, they're like, you're going to be a junkyard dog, but you're also going to have to make people comfortable. You're going to have to, but always give them that caveat, like, don't ever make them completely comfortable. You want them to know that if they fuck up, it's on them, and the hurt's coming. And I was like, I loved that, man. I loved it.
That's so good. Yeah,
because that gave me kind of some roadway to play and have fun, and I really enjoyed that aspect of Kurt.
Well, that reminds me of that amazing scene, the roulette scene. And, you're trying to play it stealthy, and then you come in. And that whole scene was fantastic.
There would be scenes like that where Pierce, the director, would paint this intricate picture of what's happening. And he's got to lay it out in a way. He's got to unfurl this tapestry to go, this is what's happening, but it can go this way, it could go this way, and it could go this way. So you got to get it straight in your head, so that, if you answer wrong, you're going to get a different reaction out of Kurt. So he'd roll it out in a very specific way so that you could play out the scene this way. Okay, now we got to come back to the beginning. Get back into that headspace, where you're welcome, and we're just talking, right? We're just talking.
Mm.
And then they answer a different way, and then there would be the nuance, saying something in a certain way that allows the player character to really consider, oh, I've got to read this person. I actually have to read this. I have to read the room. Is he saying what I think he's saying? Because if I answer this wrong, shit's going to go bad.
Mm.
And so having Pierce be able to kind of go, make it more uncertain for them, and add that layer of intimidation in.
So he did
Because
say that.
oh yeah, that
Yeah.
was a deliberate thing. Yeah. And he's got such a careful mind, to be able to ask that of an actor without telling him how to do it. That's a really fun director to work with.
Because you don't want the director to say, "Can you do that just a bit more sad?" Or you do this a bit more happy, or you want a bit more. You want a
Yeah.
specific direction. Is that what you mean?
Or you don't want a director to be like, do it like this.
Mm.
Come up at the end.
Yeah.
Be like, here's what's happening, and I want you to land. I want you to make them feel like they better not fuck this up.
Yeah.
No, but you're still playing like, hey, everything's cool, right? You're cool. But if you said that you were there with this person, I thought that you weren't there with that person.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
so that's what makes the acting process fun. You get to live that moment, and it's genuine and it's real, and that's what made it such a pleasure to do, because that's why you get into it as an actor, to live a moment and really try and connect with another character, and realize an objective, realize, really actualize what you're saying to them. Man, that's why you get into this. That's why you put up with all the bullshit. That's why you do all the stupid things to do that.
That moment. Yeah, those
Yeah.
moments. Yeah. I love the boss fight too. I didn't even know there was a boss fight because the first playthrough, I think you got killed by Alex. She slashed you and it was a horrible death. R.I.P. Kurt.
Yes.
But then the next one, there's this incredible boss fight. And, there's this saying, don't bring a knife to a gunfight, which Kurt didn't abide by those rules.
No.
But there's this amazing music in the background. And, I mean, watching that back, you must be thinking, fuck, this is awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I thought back.
That's what I felt when playing it. Honestly.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
Like that final scene, there was different microphones used to record this.
I was going to say, because there was a lot of efforts in that fight. You really went for it.
Yeah, they were like, really go for it.
There you go.
And I was like, this is the role of a lifetime for me. You're damn right. I'm going for it. I'm going for it. And it's something that I personally like doing. I like efforts. I get brought into a lot of projects to do that kind of loud screaming, attacking, kind of efforts, they're called.
You enjoy it, yeah.
I like it. I do. It's hard on the voice, but there's techniques and ways that you can kind of use to mitigate that while still getting the intent across.
Yep.
But with that final scene, the junkyard, the dog is out of the cage now. It's time to, it's balls to the walls. And I have been attacked by a dog, actually.
You have?
Pitbull. And
Shit.
it was gnarly. It was gnarly. That dog chewed me up before I finally.
You're kidding.
This is when I was working as
Jesus.
I've never told this story before. I was working as a property manager like the last year I lived in Colorado, and I was supposed to go into this apartment and fix this tenant's water heater was broken. So I walked in. The tenant wasn't there, but his little like 18-year-old girlfriend was. So she let me in, and okay, and I opened the door to the water boiler, and that's where she put the dog to hide him from
you.
me. Yeah. So, and he
Surprised.
was I think at that point he was as surprised as I was, you know, and he came out, he was big. He was massive.
Dude,
He
that's
was
traumatic.
big boy. It was very traumatic. His name was Brutus. He had a spiked collar on. It's like, seriously, his head was the size of a pumpkin, you know, and it was right at my crotch level. He came out, boom, 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 huge dog, huge. And I was like, inside, I'm like, relax, bro. You need to relax because that dog is going to know. He's going to know that you're afraid and you're all ramped up. So I'm like, oh, hey, buddy. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. But inside, I'm like fireworks are going off. And he starts growling, you know, that real low. I'm like, it's okay. It's all right. I had taken off my little tool belt, which would have had like a screwdriver, any kind, and something. So I'm looking at like the countertops. Like, is there, if this goes bad, which I'm starting to feel, this is all within like 10 seconds, you know?
It's quick moving, yeah.
But it felt like forever because I'm just like, I'm ramped up. So I'm looking. And as soon as I kind of turn my head a little bit to look for that, he comes up and goes for the jugular, literally. And I have to like turn and hit him with my elbow. And then I realize, holy shit, this dog's coming after me now. And this is a big dog. So I turn to get onto this countertop. It's like an island countertop. I get on, and this dog bites my ass so hard.
Oh,
It's like,
fuck.
it is on. I mean, his fangs penetrated all layers of my muscle and he bit me so
Sorry,
hard.
I have to laugh. I'm sorry, man.
I mean, it's funny now. It's funny.
Oh, we have to laugh or we'll cry, won't we?
That's at the time I was unable to laugh, but now it just makes for a good story, you know. So he bites my ass so hard that I just my primal brain goes, it's on right now, it's happening. So I like hit him from the side. I hit his muzzle, and he.
Where's the owner, by the way?
The guy is not there, but the girl is standing there, going, "Don't be afraid! Don't be afraid! Oh my God!" She's freaking out, but she's just standing. She doesn't know what to do. She can't do anything. Yeah. And this is 15 seconds now into it, so it's just happening. It's just happening. Yeah. So the dog has now got my leg, and I'm like lifting it off the ground.
Oh God!
And he's not. And this is a pit bull. It is latched on to my leg, and I can feel him tearing the fascia, and like it's one of the most painful things I've ever been through, and I've been through some big accidents. Getting bit by a dog like that, and he's trying to pull me down, you know. So at that moment I realized, like, this dog is not letting you go. You have nothing, no weapons except your fist right now. Put this dog down. And I was hitting the dog first in the muzzle. Then I realized I'm burying its teeth deeper into my leg. And then I start hitting him in between the eyes. And it took maybe like 15 punches with everything I had before it basically blacked out for 5 seconds. It just like fell off of me. And I was like, blood and shreds. This dog had torn me up.
Wow.
I had to jump for this ledge. It was a loft. is what it was. I jumped,
Yeah.
grabbed the railing. Oh, thank God that railing held. Because if the railing broke, I would have fallen down, and that dog would have had its way with me.
Oh my
But I got up
God.
there. I just was laying in the loft, just like it was so much pain, and that dog was like "Rah, rah," down, trying to get at me. But I'm out of the picture for 30 seconds, just laying there, just bleeding in shreds.
Oh
And
my God.
she puts the dog away, and I like come down, and my things are just torn and ripped, and paper is everywhere. And I had to I'm in total shock. I'm in complete shock. And
How old are you, by the way, at this time?
this time I would have been early 20s,
Damn. Yeah.
early 20s. So this would have been, 2000, early 2000s.
Yeah. Wow. And you're in shock. Yeah.
So I'm in shock. I come down, I call the owner, and I'm like, listen, I need you to tell me if I should go to the emergency room. So what happened? What, this dog? And he looks at me, and he was with another builder who grew up on a ranch in Texas who had those dogs. And he's like, you what happened?
He
They were
knows.
like, you need to go to the emergency room right now. So we went there, and the doctor was like, let me guess, a pit bull? And I was like, yeah, how did you know? And he's like, you're the sixth one this week. And I was like,
What?
really? There was a thing happening at that time where, anyways, that I wasn't the first person or the second person or the third person that dog Brutus had bit. So he had to be put down. And so sad, because that dog was a reflection of its owner,
I know. Yeah,
the
it's
owner
sad.
clipped his ears, gave him the name Brutus, put the spike, trained him to be this
Killer. Yeah.
asshole. Yeah. And all that to say,
Do you think that dog would have killed you if you didn't?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
that dog would have ended me if it could. Yeah.
It's pretty crazy to think about, isn't it?
It is. And to come that close with an animal who's like, if it had its way, it would have killed me. And that's a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling.
So how do you go with dogs now?
Well, I've always loved dogs. I love animals. I'm a big animal lover. I get along with dogs great now, but after that, I was fucked up. I was like, I'm traumatized. I was like, I need to play with a golden retriever puppy in a park for a week.
I've got one. I should bring her in to lighten the mood.
Oh, Goldens are the best breed. They're so sweet. I grew up with a Golden.
Yeah, they're beautiful. Yeah,
They're such loving, attentive dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, pit bulls are a different kind of dog.
No, I've met good pit bulls too.
Yeah.
As you said, it's about the owner, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like
time.
it's there's a different genetic wiring in an animal like that than there is in, say, a golden retriever.
Yeah.
They can both be great loyal dogs, but when shit goes like sideways, that pit bull is trouble. You got to watch out, because they just have this switch. And I've had a few other instances with pit bulls.
What, since then? You're kidding. Oh my God.
I had a girlfriend when I first moved to LA. She had the Staffordshire pit. Emily, she got called Emily Butt. She was the sweetest dog. She'd roll over, here's my stomach. Oh, so lovey. And then when the neighbor's dog, their little yappy terrier, came out, Emily was like, death to you. Boom, went right out the door, ragdolled that poor little terrier dog. And I had to basically choke out Emily, like get on her until she and that's not, and there's been other times where I've had to choke out a dog that was attacking my dog that I grew up with. Although that was a German Shepherd it wouldn't let go of my dog's neck, and I had to get my legs around it and just winch down. I don't know, man.
You've got the most unlucky history with dogs I've ever.
I don't know. It's like, I don't. because I love dogs. I love dog.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm look at me. I'm like a kind of an imposing, like, got a dark beard. If I
yeah, yeah.
walk in, I'm tall. The dog, I can tell when that dog's like, yo, I'm not cool with you. And I'll back off and be like, okay, all right, I'll get down to your level, or I'll turn myself. I'm aware of, my body language and not intruding on a dog's space. But when those dogs turn and
Yeah.
you're not ready for it, so it kind of informed my psyche
Yeah.
as to what it's like, when a junkyard dog gets out of the door and is coming after you. It's scary. It's scary shit.
You said that wasn't your biggest accident?
No, no, I was in a bad car accident in high school. It was a head-on car
Oh,
accident, and with my other brother that I was telling you about, the one who has an IT business, and um, it was in Colorado, so it was really icy, and we were
slippery.
trying to get to school. Yeah, and
Yeah.
we had a thing called black ice there,
Ooh.
where it kind of melts and then it freezes.
Mm.
So it's a layer of ice, but it's clear, so it just looks like the road. So we were
Very
trying to get to
dangerous.
school. Very dangerous, and was going around the corner. And instead of going around the corner, we just went straight into the oncoming traffic. And
Oh,
it was
God.
a head-on collision. We were going 40, 45. They were going 40, 45.
That's
Massive,
still big. That's still big. Yeah.
massive, that's the engine ejected. We both broke our left both of it was kind of a freak act. We both broke our left femurs. I broke my clavicle, my hip.
Just from the
His
jolt, just from the impact.
from the impact of the cars.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wham, and I don't know, the dash came in, or the steering wheel. I don't know. I blacked out. I blacked out. And
So do you remember it? Do you like remember the lead up?
I remember right up to the impact. And then I kind of remember the car spinning around and then laying there, and they had to get us out with the jaws of life, and they rushed us to I remember this. I remember being in the ambulance and those guys being like, all right, the traffic sure is bad today. Yeah, Jim, it's worse than usual. And I was like, could you put on the lights? Like, yeah. Oh yeah, sure. Woo. I'm like half dead here. Why aren't the lights on in the first place? And I remember,
God.
I remember the traction, which is the device they have to put on your leg when you have a broken leg like I had.
Ah, yeah, yeah, yeah.
That was a lot more uncomfortable than the broken leg, because I was on morphine by that point.
Yeah.
So I was like, but that damn traction device was like, so I was in the hospital for weeks. I forgot how to walk, the first time I stood up, I blacked out because my vascularity
Oh,
had lost
God.
its elasticity to hold, all the blood just went boom, It was a serious accident. And I had to have a metal rod put into my leg. My brother did too, and that
So
was a
how's your
long.
leg now?
Now my leg's great.
Oh, cool.
It's great. Like they took the rod out because they were concerned I might grow some more, because it was just high school.
Ah, yeah, yeah.
So they're like,
So did that help maybe that you did it at that age?
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I was younger.
Okay.
I was also really in shape because I was playing basketball. I grew up a jock.
Yeah, you love sports, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I did. I didn't love it as much as I would have loved the arts. I know that.
Yeah, yeah.
I grew up in a sports family, and it was great. It was fine. Sports are great, but that's not where my
That
heart
wasn't your
was.
passion. Yeah.
It wasn't until my mom took me to a play in high school. They put on Singing in the Rain.
That was the one that did it for you. Really? Yeah.
I think it was just, I saw people that I knew I was like, Brent just sang and tap danced that song. That is crazy. That is crazy. Brent just did that. Meanwhile, I'm like, I had been kind of pedigreed into playing basketball and soccer and volleyball and football and all the sports, but it wasn't until I saw that I was like, I can't believe that was Brent. Jill just did that. That's amazing. I was so moved by the acting, by the arts. That's like a flag. But like I can look back and be like, that's one of the reasons why I know I wanted to be an actor. I was so impressed. I was so moved by that. By the high school production of Singing in the Rain, that I wanted to be a part of that. But just because, the way that I grew up, it took me a lot longer to have to kind of come around to that. But there's a lot of ways that being physical like that has helped me as a performer, just insofar as being able to physicalize things like we were talking about with that and fight. Like, what does it sound like when you throw a punch? What does it sound like when you get hit with a punch? When you get hit with a punch in the face versus the stomach versus the back versus what if it's a bladed weapon? What if it's a vibro weapon? What if it's a laser? Being able to differentiate those sounds makes it more real player, and you have to have a physical awareness of your body to kind of get to that, and I've had some key people help me develop that along the way also, who were really, really excellent at that. And
you struggled to sort of be free and let go for a while there, didn't you? In terms of your acting?
Yeah, that's right. I was very self-conscious, afraid of judgment. It's really essentially what it is,
How did you shake that off? Or do you still have it a little bit?
I really have learned to embrace the feeling vulnerable, feeling exposed. And probably the most powerful tool being able to help with that was improv. Is improv. I will go out of my way to do improv for that reason. And I had some really great people teach me. Bill Applebaum being the first one, and then Kif Vandenheuvel. Both of them are from Second City, and they teach this style, it was perfect for me. Lots of times, and this is definitely my idea of going into it, improv is like, you're going for the joke, and then you got the punch, and you're going for the laugh, and they were like, no. All that stuff happens. It happens when it happens. If you try and force it, it's likely not going to happen. You just have to be connected and real, and you got to talk to this person, your scene partner. You guys have to figure this out together. You're not going to figure this out yourself. You have to do it together. That's where the magic is. And that's what makes us as the audience kind of cue in, because we're wired like that. We want to know those social dynamics. That's what makes us kind of what we are. We want to see that play out. It's kind of archaic. But you have to be able to let go to do that. You can't control it. You can't squeeze it and be like, and I definitely did that getting into it. Because I didn't, I grew up being like, you have to force this ball across the line. That's how you win. It's a different approach with acting. You have to work with a partner. Even if you're in a scene and you're opposed, there's a dynamic that you have to listen to what they say and respond directly to that. And that's what makes it kind of illuminate and make it magic.
Got some fan questions here for you from the Cyberpunk fans. Your favorite scene from Phantom Liberty?
Oh, whittle it down to the favorite scene.
I know, right? Any memorable scenes?
There was a lot of scenes we did where Kurt talks to people over the megaphones all the time, Listen up, this is Kurt Hansen. Those were always fun to do. Like you have to tell them what it was. I love every time those came on. I was like, and it would be like a whole long text thing, and I would always be like, oh yeah, let's do this. But I think, actually, I think we were kind of touching on it earlier.
Yeah.
Roulette scene, and then there was a scene where V comes into the Sapphire. Idris is there, Songbird is there, and I walk up, and I'm like, oh, I thought I knew everybody here, but apparently I don't. You want to introduce me? That kind of intimidation layering, but while still being hospitable kind of thing. I really liked balancing that host slash warlord character and the nuance of having to ask a question in a certain way that makes the player go, ooh, I better not fuck this up. I got to get this one right. And that brought a lot of satisfaction and joy to me, that scene.
Bennett or Jago?
Oh, I immediately wanted to say Jago, but then right after that, it's like, nope, because you can't trust anybody.
Neither.
I don't think you trust anybody. Yeah. I don't think you trust anybody. I think it's all. I don't know how he sleeps. Nobody can be trusted. There must be. He's got some cybernetic implant that he can.
Just for sure.
But nobody can be trusted.
Do you wish there was a side with Kurt Hansen option in the game? Oh, that's interesting.
Oh yeah. I totally wish that.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
Yeah. Because what a powerful ally that would be. But then you'd also have to be like, this is going to go wrong at some point. How far can you get in before he turns on you, basically, because he's all about advancement, all about keeping control. But I would have loved that, because then that would open up the door to a lot of, like behind the scenes kind of, behind the doors where you're just talking to Kurt, and maybe you see his insecurities, or maybe you see what he's worried about, really, and why he is the way he is. That would be really interesting.
Quiet Life or Blaze of Glory?
Well, for myself, I'll take the Quiet Life, but for Kurt, I think the answer is Glory, baby.
Did you play Phantom Liberty, Eliah, and did you side with Songbird or Reed? Thanks for your awesome work.
Oh, thank you. I haven't played it yet, mostly because it's on my laundry list of things to get to. And when I do, I just want time and space. I just want to experience it,
No outside distractions, yeah.
I've got, I'm a little biased because I think Minji's awesome. And so I'm inclined to want to trust her.
I went that way too, don't you worry.
But Idris is my guy. I'm so impressed by his performances. He's actually one of the performers, to kind of circle back to what you were saying about being real and being vulnerable and being exposed and connected. He was one of the prominent performers that showed me that was possible. I think the British actually do this really, really well. The British acting is just world class. Their command of the English language, I mean, they've spoken it longer than any of us. We're the weird colonies out here, spin-offs doing our own thing. They have such a command over it. And Idris is an imposing figure. He can be so, but he also can be so vulnerable. He's a huge role model, and so it's just a incredible honor to be a part of anything that he's a part of.
So you're telling me you're on the fence on this one?
Yeah. Yeah, I would have to say
Can't
him.
pick a side. What was that like though when you found out you were going to be in a game with him? Because obviously you would have known Keanu
Yeah,
was in it.
yeah, well, that was amazing. I knew the Keanu was, and they were bringing Johnny Silverhand back, and I was like, okay, awesome. I love Keanu. That in and of itself was amazing. Like, oh, dude, I I'm gonna like be in a game that's got Keanu in it. That's amazing. He's got done so many roles that I grew up with that I just
That's a pinch me, yeah.
that's totally a pinch me moment. But then when Solomon Reed was announced, I was like, oh, come on. It was so amazing. I was like, this is crazy. Who does this? What franchise like ropes in these amazing actors? I was like, this is going to be off the chain. Idris doesn't do shit. Neither does Keanu. Well, Keanu's had a few, but he's been around for 50 years.
Yeah, but they don't do anything, you know what I mean? Yeah, they
No,
pick and
no.
choose. Yeah.
Yeah. I knew when Idris was attached, this was going to be a wild ride.
But even just the writing of this was just phenomenal. I mean, you would have seen it just doing your work. Just
Yeah.
everyone is so fleshed out. They have full lore and backstory on everyone, and
Yeah.
it's
Like
just
there would be some stuff, with Kate Bess as the president,
yeah,
seeing her stuff. I could hear the stuff that she had done and be like, dude, like the NUSA, this is crazy. This is going to get crazy. This whole story is going to get, with her crashing and then me. I was like, this is going to be a wild ride. See, Projekt Red, man, they don't just throw out any old thing. Their stories are integrated and flushed out. And I mean, how much they care, because they weren't willing to just let the bugs of the initial release, let that be the legacy. The amount of effort to wrangle that back, it's nothing short of incredible. It's incredible that you want to make that right in order to climb that mountain, to do that. I have so much respect and adoration for them in doing that, because that is what we connect with. It's the story and the characters who tell the story. That's why we want to play the game, and they knocked it out of the park. I was so excited to be a part of it in any way, let alone to be able to play the heavy. It was such an honor, such a pleasure.
couple more, mate. Thanks again for your time. Kurt Hansen, more like Kurt Handsome.
Well, I didn't have anything to do with that, but I'm glad you think so. It's funny because the other day I was thinking he actually looks a lot like Jago to me. He was initially part of SEAL Team 6, and he now trained a bunch of SEALs, and now he's kind of since retired and does his own thing. But he's a presence. He's got a podcast, and he talks about, this is how we would do it. This is how we would, on SEAL Team 6, if we had something bad happen to us, I'd say, good. You're broken. You don't feel good. It's raining outside. Good. You didn't get that promotion you were hoping for. Good. He's got this whole thing. Good. It's like, now you have a chance to like make good on that. And I think subconsciously, I through osmosis, I drew from that sort of thing. And then the next day, out of nowhere, this fan hit me up through Twitter. It was like, it just sent me a picture of Jocko Willink. And I was like, dude,
Wow.
you're absolutely right about that. And they look actually very similar. Shaved head, and they got that like chiseled. They look like
I wonder if that was an inspiration at all. You should ask him if you ever.
I would love to ask that question, because there's an archetype. There's so many layers to creating a character: the writer, the performer, then you've got the people coding and
Yeah.
create.
Yeah.
There's so many people involved in creating a character that not only is it, far be it for me to say that I am Kurt Hansen. I'm a slice of the pie,
Did you know
but
what he looked like when you were performing him?
initially, no. In
Wow.
fact, it was a different name even. He had a different name.
Ah.
I can't remember what his name was. It was different. His name was different.
Yeah. I
So
think it was Dan Allen. Yeah.
you'd have to probably cut some of the hairs, but yeah, yeah, cybernetic implants there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was evolving. Yeah.
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 Wow. What should the residents of Dogtown do now, Eliah?
There's a vacuum there, right? Well, usually what happens there is the next one rises up. Will you be the
Yes.
next one? Will you be the one to rise up? Uh, the- some order has to be made from the chaos, and those are usually the ones that see that vacuum, that vacant spot, and try to fill the void.
Final one. What does this project mean to you?
I mean, if I could whittle down everything we've been talking about this last time, it's such an honor for me to be a part of it, for all the things mentioned, the people that are in it, Jeremy and
Gavin.
Gavin. Thank you. What lovely people, and what talented performers. Minji, amazing. Idris, Keanu, Kay. Oh man, dude, this project just from a performance standpoint is just off the charts. I'm so proud and so humbled to be a part of it,
Mm.
And then you throw in CDPR, filming the whole thing, making it what it is, putting forth the effort that it takes to make it right, make it the best that it can be. It's so humbling to be part of that. Not not every game developer's like that, They could just be like, oh, there's there's some problems. Well, kind of deal with it. That's not what they wanted. They wanted to make it right. And then to work with Pierce O'Toole. I also had a Tony Smith. She was also my director. Shout out to Tony. She's amazing. She's directed me in some other projects, and she's so good. She's so Everybody that was part of this, the engineers, Jesus, there's so many engineers that were just on point. When you have a great engineer, it facilitates the flow of the session, because
Helps with the flow. Yeah.
you got the director go, oh, can we play that back, and then play him what he just did, his previous line, and then start tracking after that. And I'm going to read you in that,
Stuff that it would be tough for you to do or anyone. Yeah.
impossible for me to, I can't do that.
Yeah.
And then even if the engineer can do it, but it takes some more time to be able to have somebody just like, it's
Yeah.
all about
That's
time.
handy.
It's amazing. And this was all recorded at Side LA, and they're another team just renowned for producing amazing work, telling amazing stories. I can't I can't I can't talk enough about just how amazing it is to be a part of it, and from top to bottom, from everybody that was involved. It's a tremendous just a tremendous pinching myself every day kind of thing.
Thank you for taking some time, man. Is there anything you want to say to the fans that have tuned in today?
Yeah, I think that the fans are the ones we haven't talked about. The fans are really that key ingredient that facilitated all of this to happen. If the fans hadn't stuck with the story, if the fans hadn't believed in it, it wouldn't be what it is. And And it's as simple as that, you know? I think the fans, there won't be enough to say to show my gratitude to the community who just stuck with it. All of it would just go away without the fans, without them supporting the project, showing up, engaging with it, caring enough to want to do it. It really, there would be nothing. If everybody wanted to try so hard, but the fans didn't give a shit, it just wouldn't be there. So I think as a lowest common denominator, we owe everything to the fanship for keeping it going and keeping that torch lit.
Beautifully said, mate. I hope you've enjoyed yourself, and this won't be the last time we do this. I'm sure of it.
I hope not, man. This has been fun, and you're a great conversationalist. So I look forward to it.
Thank you, brother. Can I hear one more time before we end it? With Kurt Hansen, could he say something to Dan? Could he give Dan something?
Okay. Attention, Dan Allen and his gaming community and all its constituents. This is Kurt Hansen. I want you to give this episode a listen, a like, and report back to me. Don't forget to subscribe. See you in Dogtown.
That one's getting the play. Thank you, man. I appreciate that very much. Really do. And make sure to follow Eliah on Instagram. Anywhere else we can follow you?
Yeah, I'm on the Instas. I'm on the Twitters. I guess the Facebook too. It's all my name. It's just all my name. The way we started the podcast, my elusive, easily messed up name, Eliah Mountjoy, all one word, ELIAHMOUNTJOY. That's me.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.